What's up, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? What's going on? What's been going on with you? How's your week? How's your day? What'd you have for lunch? How's your wife? How's your kids? All of that. Let's go. Guess what? It's Friday. It's time to live stream. A little bit more dancing. All right, thank you, Mr. Music. Welcome everybody. It's Friday. It's time to live stream. If you there's gonna be a lot of today. Okay, so anyways, we have recently. This feels like a big issue for me. It's really not. But I feel like my schedule of streaming for the last few weeks has been very sporadic. And it's because I just started school, like full-time college. So, I got like a lot of work to do and stuff. So, scheduling has been a little bit odd, and I've been trying to do my best, honestly, because like before I started school, before I went back to school, doing live streams was a big priority, and I had lots of time to plan. Like I had time to plan topics, I had time to plan like ideas, activities, things that and the other. But it's so hard to do it when I'm spending literally 40 hours plus a week studying for school. And what I love about you guys is that the majority of you are Neogenians. And if there's one thing about being a Neogenian is that we really value education. So it's easier to explain to you all that it's hard to keep up with my streaming schedule because I am studying and I'm trying to expand my education, as much as possible. So that would be a priority. Anyways, let me just pop in and see who's in the chat. I noticed that we have Skylar back. Skylar, I miss you. I was actually thinking about you last week, and I'm really glad you're back. Let's see. Spectral Chord, good to see you. Gabe Prower, good to see you. Cassie, our beautiful moderator, is here. I have allergies right now. Hold on. Anyways. Spectral Chord, Jackie, Doodle, Diddle, Doddle, Neo what? You're new. Welcome new people if you've never been here before. Oh, and Christopher Smith, thank you so much for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Christopher. Let's see. Let's do roses in the chat. Let's do roses for Christopher for becoming a member. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. If I look haggard and my demeanor seems haggard, it's because I am haggard. Just so you know. Like, I am like week 3 into the semester, and already the workload is so much. And I have so much stress about going to school and doing well with homework and quizzes and things like that. Because I want to be able to demonstrate that that I understand the material and that I have knowledge in it and that I can explain it back to you, right? And that's the hard part about education is when I learn something, I can understand what is being said to me. I can understand, like, for example, when I went to a Spanish class, I understood Spanish like as the Spanish teacher was teaching me. But when I am asked to talk back in Spanish, my brain falls short for some reason. And it kind of applies to like all aspects of my learning experience. Like with mathematics. Mathematics is essentially like learning a language. If somebody explains mathematical stuff to me, I get it very well. My problem is when I am asked to explain it to somebody else. That's where I fall short. So a lot of college so far for me, being back into college, is learning how to verbalize and explain and demonstrate how I know something. And I feel like that's a skill in of itself to develop, let alone just learning and comprehending like what's going on. So, yeah, school's been really cool. It's pretty much all that's on my brain, honestly. Like, and that's why I feel really bad that live streaming has become in some ways secondary. I've had to prioritize school first, and school is literally it's like a full-time job. Like I'm putting in like 8 hours a day if I can. I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to wake up a few hours earlier than I normally do just to have more time in my day. But that's not like that's not like super crazy, right? Like lots of people have to like sacrifice sleep to have more time in their day and get shit done, like work, school, all this and that. I'm not saying I'm special by any means. I'm not. I'm not exactly like learning this shit for the first time either. You know, like these are experiences I've had before. But this is the first time I'm articulating it and I'm relating it to what's going on right now, not what went on like 20 years ago or some shit like that. So, yeah, so anyways, in a nutshell, if you're having a little bit of a hard time keeping up, I am 36 and I'm just barely starting to go back to college to pursue studies in sociology. I'm majoring in sociology. And I'm doing it like the biggest reason I'm going back to college is because I just want to be more educated. I want to be smarter. You know, I want to learn statistics. I want to learn the terminology. I want to learn all of that stuff. I want to be very affluent in that area of life. And as a benefit, perhaps it may serve me in a way that I can have a career off of it. Otherwise, I'm happy to contribute academically. But just overall, like this is like the area of study I have chosen for my life. So, really interesting. By the way, we're going to do some news scrolling. We're going to scroll through some recent trending topics and trending news stories. We're going to spend a little bit of time doing that. And then afterwards, I'm going to share with you one of my sociology assignments that I have to write a paper about as just kind of like a way to brainstorm with you, my audience, because there's a lot of brainstorming involved. It's a really interesting thing. So in a nutshell, with my sociology project, we're doing this idea of like abandoning a sinking ship. There is a ship that is sinking, and there is a group of people that's on this ship. And for some reason, you, as in me, as in, the observer of this thought experiment, you have to pick like 5 people or something like that. Yeah, like 5 people out of 15 people who gets to ride on the life raft to safety. Because there's only one life raft, the ship is sinking, there's only one life raft boat thing, and there's only room for 5 people, including yourself. And you are the one who's the decider. And you have to just decide out of like 15 people or whatever, like what 5 would you pick and why? And you only know like a little bit brief information about each person. So at the end of this stream, we're going to do a little bit of news scrolling, looking through articles and stuff and topics for fun. And then, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion on that. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. So anyways, let me get some stuff piled up here. Oh, you know what? I kind of want to like look at right now. Recently, there have been a couple of YouTubers and streamers and content creators that have been exposed by being paid for by like MAGA based foundations that accept money from Russia. No joke. Let's look into this. Hold on. Philip actually sent me something really good on this, and I want to watch it. By the way, I have no plans for topics. Like, I'm literally just cold searching, which is a new experimental way of doing live streams. Just because, like, as I explained in great detail, that I am going to school. Hello? Okay. Let's watch this, if we can. All right. Okay.
All right, let's get into it. Absolute bombshell shaking the independent media world. DOJ bombshell alleges MAGA Media Group is backed by Russian money.
Ah! The nerve, clutching my pearls. So, like, a MAGA Media Group is a group that sponsors and umbrellas a couple of, like, YouTubers and streamers, the likes of which, the first one off the top of my head is Tim Pool. If you don't know who Tim Pool is, look him up. It's kind of, I don't know, something along the lines of Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro, or just a guy who's a YouTuber or like a content creator whose interests are mostly into political commentary, and it's mostly right-leaning and MAGA-leaning. And so there's like this media company, a MAGA media company, that pays him money to, I don't know, associate with them. However, apparently, according to this article, this media company is being funded partially with Russian money. Putin money. How good is that Putin money? I gotta wonder. How much of that is putting money in your bank? Ooh!
There is a fantastic Twitter thread by Pekka Kalyanimi from Vatnik Soup and the Soup Central, who follows and is an expert on exactly these types of influence campaigns. So let me explain to you what's going on. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that this is shaking the independent media world.
It's shaking. It's shaking the independent. Okay, so when you're a content creator, like you're a YouTuber or a live streamer, and you talk about commentary, and this kind of like relates to me a little bit. The only reason I say a little bit is because I have like imposter syndrome. I want to say like I'm a political commentator. I'm not that specifically, but you know, I'm a commentator on things that are going on in the world currently. But I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, so you know, I tend to undersell myself. So this kind of applies to me. So when you're a commentator on political issues, you're kind of in the category of independent journalism without really the journalism part, but you are in a way. It's like a digital journalist. Like you're somebody who does research and formulates their own independent opinion. That's just kind of like what we are. I'm not saying I'm an independent journalist. Absolutely not. I just, you know, but I do live stream. And when I live stream, I cover current political issues, mostly in America, and whatever very large in your face like world issues that are going on. It doesn't even have to be political. I'm sure you can extrapolate a political angle from literally everything that's going on in the world. So like in a way it's like I would never say I'm a strictly a political commentator, creator, YouTuber, but I try. So anyways, that's kind of like an independent media source, right? Like you're independent, you don't work for a corporation or anything. But what's going on here is that there are some very mainstream political commentators that are independent or considered independent that we're now realizing are underneath the wing of media corporations that are paying them to peddle more of their own opinion, such as like a MAGA media corporation. You know, let's pretend, if I was like super popular, and there was like thousands of people in the chat right now listening to me, and I have certain opinions, and perhaps some of those opinion align very closely to an ideology that's like a political party or campaign thing, whether it's like, it doesn't matter if it's like Republican or Democrat or something. It's like that they're going to take interest, and they have media companies, obviously, that will have the funds to be like, well, you have a very big audience. Let's pretend I have a very big audience. I'm not saying you're not important by any means. Like you're wonderful, beautiful. I wouldn't be live streaming if it wasn't for you guys right here. But let's say there was just like way more of you, right? And I happen to have an opinion about life and society and the political environment that a certain like democratic, let's pretend like democratic, like not even democratic in general, but like a very certain subset of Democrats, like social democrats or some weird shit like that. I don't know. I'm just like making shit up. They're like, hey, we like what you have to say because you have a huge audience that watches you. We would like to take you under our wing and pay you a certain amount of money to keep pushing these ideas. Depending on the money, you know, I might consider that, even if I deny it in the end and I reject it in the end. It's going to be very interesting. Well, there's a couple of content creators right now who are very popular mainstream content creators. They're very sort of MAGA aligned, and a certain MAGA media company has taken interest and decided to pay them money. And what's coming out about right now is that that MAGA media company is also receiving its own funding from Russia. Hmm. 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 Interesting. That seems a little bit suspicious, does it not? All right, let's continue.
Russia has been funding a Tennessee based media company called Tenet. Tenet Media is most known for promoting pro Putin, anti Ukraine, anti democratic West narratives, and for supporting Donald Trump. Now, the money that's at play here, and I'm going to tell you who has been receiving the money. The money that's at play here originated with Russian state TV channel RT. It was funneled through various shell companies in countries like Turkey and the United Arab Emirates and others, in some cases masked as payments for electronics. And two individuals involved from RT cost.
Oh, what do you mean masked as electronics? So I'm speculating that maybe these media companies are like, hey, we really like your content. We will purchase you the camera or the sound system or the computer that you need to like stream. So it's kind of like masked as like equipment when in reality it's like a direct Russian endorsement because the Russians are giving money to this media company and the media company is like, we're not going to give you money per se, we're just going to like buy your equipment. Interesting. Interesting. I want to listen more.
Konstantin Kalashnikov and Elena Afanasieva have been charged. There's an indictment with conspiracy to commit money laundering and conspiracy to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act. These two also instructed the content creators that were being funded by this entire project. Now, the reason we're learning about all of this is because of the indictment. The details in the indictment are stunning, and I encourage you to look at it. Now, interestingly, Tenet was founded in 2022 by Lauren Chen and Liam Donovan. Now, you might remember the name Lauren Chen. I've met Lauren Chen. I was on a panel
I'm a little
with her at
lost, but I'll
Politicon
keep listening.
years ago. And there is something in particular about Lauren Chen's content relative to her name recognition that is a common thread with a lot of these sort of astroturfed content creators, which I will get to in a moment. So then we have the list of media people that are involved with Tenet Media. And the list includes Tim Pool, who's been a guest on this program, Benny Johnson, with whom I appeared on the Piers Morgan program recently, Dave Rubin, who he has been on this show before, and I've been on his show a decade ago before he had this very strange political awakening where he changed all his political views, and Lauren Southern. So Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, probably the biggest names that are involved here. Now, it's really interesting to go back and reconsider some of the content that these creators have been putting out in light of these revelations about the funding. Tim Pool, for example, went all in his videos with claims like Ukraine is the enemy of this country and suggesting we should apologize to Russia.
And they know it. But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war.
That sounds like an opinion motivated by a lot of money. Just saying.
Now, don't get me wrong, I know. You've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German warrant issued for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support, and we should apologize to Russia.
Yo, that straight up sounds like Russian propaganda. Like straight up. Like pure Russian propaganda. What the fuck did I just watch? Yo. even if I like, even in the scenario where I'm pretending to be like a mainstream, like big political commentator, I would never give an opinion. So, I mean, it depends. Okay, I can't exactly say that. But, like, what? I guess I'm confused. Hold on. I would never bang my fist on the table about anything like that to do with like another country that I never have had experience or like living in. I would never comment like that on a foreign world issue, on a foreign policy or foreign affairs with that level of just like expression. Like I don't get that. This just like it totally seems paid. It seems paid. It seems like you were paid by the Russians, and not directly. I'm not saying that Tim Pool himself thought like, "Oh, I'm receiving money from the Russians. I got to be pro-Russian." I think he was already leaning that way, and this media company thought, "Oh, that's good." And the Russians happen to be giving money to this media company. So, yeah, this is like Russian propaganda. Straight up. Isn't that creepy? Yo, isn't that creepy that we are living in 2024 and propaganda still exists, but it has evolved to the form of media that we understand today? So instead of just like reading newspaper articles or like clippings or like posters and stuff of like the Red Scare or whatever, like we're actually seeing some major social media creators and like political commentators like participate in propaganda. Wow. This is shaking. At the very beginning, this guy who's presenting this, the guy on the left there, he was saying this is like shaking the independent commentary community, and it is true. What the fuck is happening? Let's see, Mark says, right, he's never been to either country, but he knows exactly what's really going on there. Yeah, that's what's so weird. If you grew up in America, how can you be so passionate about what's going on over there? And I'm not saying this to discredit a lot of people who feel passionate about foreign affairs, like such as like Palestinian activists and stuff like that. Like I'm not saying it's not important and you can't, but like I guess it's just Tim Pool. It's Tim Pool, and knowing that he's a right-wing grifter, you know that this is paid for, right? Like any other like set of variables and circumstances could mean something totally different, but just because it's Tim Pool and I know him enough that he is a right-wing grifter, like this makes sense for him. So, anyways, continuing.
Now, he seems to be reading something in this video. If he's reading a script and who wrote the script, I mean, we just don't know. But obviously, everything is suspect now, given these revelations. Also, on Twitter, or X as it's now called, Tim has been very vocal about this issue.
Oh, hello, Elise. Wonderful, beautiful goddess Elise. Everybody say hello.
Tweeting at one point, "I now hate and despise Ukraine." Tweeting at another point, "Trump got impeached for freezing military aid to Ukraine. Biden faces no consequences for freezing military aid to Israel. This proves the Ukrainians run the U.S. Now when someone asks, who is they though, you respond, the Ukrainians." Tim Pool posting, "The people screaming about Trump working for Russia are the same people demanding social media censor misinformation.
Oh, interesting.
Stop listening to these people." So a lot of stuff here.
That's the other thing about Tim Pool. Tim Pool has a large audience who's very into Trump, and so is Tim Pool.
That now is very suspect involving Tim Pool. Then we go to Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson's main talking points.
I don't really know Benny Johnson. I gotta admit, I'm a little lost here.
have often focused around he just doesn't want aid going to Ukraine, and Democrats are causing so many problems domestically. Why would we send any money to Ukraine? You then have Lauren Southern and the Russian.
The government is causing so much problems, like, locally. Why send money to Israel and weapons to Israel? There's so many, like, there's so many things you could, like, go off of there.
Connection there is much more plain to see. She's actually visited Moscow and she met with Alexander Dugin, who's this guy who provided the blueprint for Russian expansion and imperialism in his 1997 book, Foundation of Geopolitics. We've talked about that. And then, of course, you also have Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin, who has increasingly pushed this pro-Trump, sort of skeptical of the West kind of narrative. Now, a lot of these guys, people, are kind of panicking. And so they've put out statements that are all very similar in structure. Dave Rubin is essentially claiming he's just a victim here. He put out a statement where he says, statement on the DOJ indictment. These allegations clearly show that I...
Oh. So there's actually, like, an official indictment going on with these creators to see if, like, they're actually being directly funded from Russia. Well, not directly, indirectly, but funded from Russia. Interesting. Hold on, I have to pee. Hold on. Stay here. Okay. All right, going back here. So there's actually an indictment. Well, you know, if you start accepting funding from government, like, political, like, factions, I don't know how you describe it. You know what I mean, though. Like, if you're accepting money on that sort of scale, where you're being, like, propped up by a media company that's also accepting donations from Russia, you're getting involved with the government there. And I think that's such a bad choice. Like, if you're considered like a political commentator on YouTube, and you're technically, like, an independent source of news, it would be so weird to just start accepting money from an organization that wants you to peddle certain, like, opinions. Because, yeah, the money trail there is not going to work out well for you in the end. It's really not. Because now the government is going to get involved. And because, like, it's going to get to the point where it's, like, political interference. Why would you do that? If any political organization offers me money for anything whatsoever, I'm not saying they will. I don't even know if I'll get that popular. But, like, if that ever happens, I'm going to say fucking no.
I and other commentators were the victims of this scheme. I knew absolutely nothing about any of this fraudulent activity, period. People of the Internet was a silly show covering viral videos, which ended 4 months ago. The DOJ has never contacted me regarding this matter. I have no intention to comment further. The screenshot from the indictment speaks for itself. So he's basically saying, I was a victim here. I was victimized. Benny Johnson also referred to himself as a victim, saying, quote, a year ago, a media startup pitched my company to provide content as an independent contractor. Our lawyers negotiated a standard arm's length deal, which was later terminated. We are disturbed by the allegations in today's indictment, which make clear that myself and other influencers were victims in this alleged scheme. My lawyers will handle anyone who states or suggests otherwise, I guess threatening lawsuits. So let's talk a little bit about this. To be perfectly clear, I believe completely that no one was telling these individuals necessarily what they have to say, but it's sort of like the RT thing. I don't know if you guys remember when RT was on the air, and we would often hear from RT hosts and whatnot, and they would say, I have total freedom to say whatever I want. RT never comes in and says, here's what you have to say about Putin or anything else. What's really critical to understand is that Russian intelligence prefers if you don't know that you're doing their bidding. What they want to do is amplify voices that are already predisposed to say what's useful to them. And so when it came to the on-air talent at RT, for example, they don't need to hire people and then go, listen, here's how you have to cover stories. They would say, hey, here's someone whose skepticism of American institutions is really useful to our goal of destabilizing American democracy. Let's hire them. Let's give them a bunch of money. We don't have to tell them what to say. So the strategy here is you amplify voices that are predisposed to say what you want, and then you give them the money to do as much as possible with a larger reach. The report is that as far as Benny Johnson goes, it was a deal for $400,000 a month plus some kind of six-figure signing bonus. These are early reports. It was very obvious in some of these cases, that the storylines just didn't really seem to match the natural development of one's kind of political views. And I want to be careful about what I say so that I don't necessarily anger any particular person. But when you look at the trajectories of some of these individuals and you see the rapid, in some cases, subscriber growth that took place without necessarily a lot of views, sort of a disproportionate amount of public notoriety that didn't seem matched by the actual interest in the content, because a lot of people aren't necessarily interested in what these individuals are saying. You start to wonder, is there some artificial mechanism that is signal boosting the content? I think that's where we leave it for now. What I can tell you is that we don't get any money from anybody like this. We're on YouTube and we make money from the YouTube ad program.
Okay, bro, don't virtue signal right here. We don't give a shit. That's such a weird thing to do, to accept money from an organization that doesn't necessarily tell you what to say, but they're so interested in what you have to say. It's like it almost aligns perfectly.
We have no contact with any of the advertisers. Individual people pay $2, $3, $4, $5 a month or $60, $70 for the year. Any one of them can cancel at any time. None of them direct content on the program. I mean, the point I'm trying to make here is not all independent media is created equal. And sometimes apparently independent media can actually be wrapped up with some pretty ugly stuff. Let's leave it there. Are you aware that there are hundreds of commercial databases and people search sites?
No.
Financial details, even political beliefs. In Europe, they have laws protecting against this, but it's still a free-for-all in the United States. Even the FBI will sometimes purchase data from companies like these to obtain private information about Americans without even getting a search warrant. Now, our data brokers compelling about
it's
which
like an
companies
ad for a thing.
This can also cut down on from the very same lists.
Okay, that's it. So that's it. Interesting. Yeah, I think it's a really bad idea to start accepting money from a political or associated organizations, because even if they don't tell you what to say, they're assuming that what you're saying already is aligning so perfectly with them that they're willing to give you money, even if that money is in the form of equipment, like a new monitor or like a new microphone or stuff like that. If Tim Pool and these other creators are coming out saying, oh, gee, I had no idea this was going on and this is so scammy. Jesus, I really had no idea. I think that's bullshit, because these people are innovative and articulate and insightful enough to like get a pretty big audience for their political statements and opinions, but yeah, like somehow they're completely aloof to like being directly funded from political associated organizations, even if it's just like a MAGA media company. Like, really? How did you not know? Like, how could you have not known? That makes no fucking sense to me. Say no to politically motivated funding, kids. Yeah. All right. Well, we don't have much time today. I'm going to talk about one of my assignments I have to work on this weekend. It's a thought experiment, and I thought it would be like fun. Ooh, sorry. I thought it would be fun to talk about. Let me pull it up. Is your data secure? My goodness. Just look at my beautiful background for a minute. Okay. So I have to do this assignment. It's a paper I have to write that's double spaced and at least like 3 pages. But it's a thought experiment. So let me explain. The story of the ocean liner. This is the abandoned ship assignment. So the ocean liner that you've been on has struck a mine from World War II. Uh-oh. Because of the unexpected explosion and the quick sinking of the ship, the radio man was not sure any other ship heard your SOS. So when the incident occurred, you were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with a bad storm approaching. Double shitty. Bridget Bell says, are you in college, Jan? Yes. And what am I studying? I'm majoring in sociology. So let's see. The lifeboat. So there's only like one lifeboat on this ship that's sinking and a storm is approaching and we're all gonna die. So there's one lifeboat. The lifeboat you are on is overcrowded past the danger mark. Unless you lighten the load, which means some will have to go overboard the lifeboat, and all aboard will perish. Okay. The lifeboat was designed to hold only 5 people, but there are 16 people abroad or aboard. Your job is to decide who will go over this side. Okay. First of all, who am I to play God? But I can't turn in a paper to my professor with only one sentence that says, who am I to play God? That would be funny. I don't think they would appreciate that humor. I think that would be a hard F. So let's look into there's 16 people on the ship, and I and you, as in like, you know, put yourself in the position of the person who has to decide who goes on the life raft and who doesn't. That's you. I'm using it interchangeably. But there's already a spot for you. So you can't choose yourself. You have to choose 5 people out of 16 people here who gets to get on the life raft and who doesn't. Okay, so here we go. So the first person is able-bodied Sailor Jones. It is somewhat questionable how Jones was able to get from her assigned position below deck to the lifeboat when no other sailor assigned to the lower decks managed to escape from the ship. Sailor Jones is in excellent health, not married, and no close relatives. Okay. If she was assigned below deck, and none of the other below deck sailors made it up to the top of the ship, why did she make it up to the top of the ship? It's interesting. But she's not married, and she has no close relatives. So it's a nice way of saying if she goes, no one's going to give a shit. There's no one to give a shit. 2. There's Ship Officer O'Malley. She was the only high-ranking officer aboard the ship that was able to get the lifeboat. Okay, so the whole reason we have the lifeboat is because of Ship Officer O'Malley. It is the boat that she has been assigned to in all of the emergency practice drills. She is a capable officer, has navigation skills, and was well liked by passenger and the crew members aboard the ship. Excellent health. Okay, so she's an expert on the lifeboat. Interesting. Number 3, we got Quartermaster MacDonald. Little is known about him. He served in the Navy. He suffered injuries to both hands in the explosion of the ship. Okay, so he has no hands. He can't do anything. Hi, Philip. So Master McDonald, Quartermaster McDonald, he can't do anything with his hands. He's useless. But he's married and he has 4 children in the United States. This is hard. You know what this is bringing me back to? This is bringing me back to when I played the Trolley Problem video game. And every fucking option we chose. Remember there was like a trolley approaching like some students. And it was like you and your fat friend. And I'm not being crass. It literally described like you're standing up on top of a hill with your overweight friend who was like super fat, and you're looking down at this train approaching like some kids. Like if you push your fat friend down the hill, they could subdue the train enough to where it doesn't hit the kids. Or you could do nothing and the kids die. And it was such a bullshit like scenario, because it's like, in what scenario am I going to imagine pushing somebody down a hill? So like if you choose to just watch the train hit the kids and not push your fat friend down the hill, the game's like, okay, well that's great, but your fat friend was so shocked and has such high blood pressure that he died of a heart attack. And it's like, son of a bitch. So I feel like there's going to be like this sort of caveat like with this example. So if you're just jumping in, this is actually one of my assignments that I have to work on this weekend. I have to write a double-spaced like 3-page just opinion piece on the abandoned ship assignment. So there's a ship and it struck a mine and part of it blew up and it's going underwater, and there's also a bad storm approaching. There's only one life raft. You are on the life raft and you can only choose 5 other people to join you, but there's 16 people aboard the ship. So we're learning a little bit about each person to gather, like if we want to decide. And at the very beginning of this, I'm like, who am I to play God? Let us all die. Let us all just sink together. Let us all go down. But anyways, we got the able-bodied Sailor Jones, which is a woman who was assigned to the lower deck, but she just magically appeared at the top, even though other lower deck sailors didn't come up. You know, so like, why was she up there? She's not married. She doesn't have any close relatives. There's the ship officer O'Malley. She's a high-ranking officer, and she specialized in the lifeboat. She's done emergency drills. She's a capable officer, has navigational skills, and is well liked by passenger crew members aboard the ship. And she's in excellent health. I feel like at this point, like the first choice I would do is definitely Ship Officer O'Malley, because like, why would you pile a bunch of people into a lifeboat and not have an expert navigator? Like, and she specializes in the lifeboat. Anyways, number 3, there's Quartermaster McDonald. He served in the Navy, but his hands are injured. Yeah, he has Navy experiences, but his hands are injured in the explosion. But he's married, and he has 4 children. Number 4, a self-made millionaire, Douglas. Okay, first of all, I have notes. You're never a self-made millionaire because you have to exploit other people to get it. Well, no, that's with billionaires. By the time you reach billionaireship, you're exploiting other people. You can independently reach $1 million. So he's a self-made millionaire. He owns and manages one of the U.S.'s largest garment industrial complexes, which employs hundreds of factory workers. Married to his husband and is parent to... wait, what? He is a self-made millionaire, and he's married to his husband? Oh, so they're gay. And is a parent to 5-year-old girl twins. His health is average, but overweight due to lack of exercise. Well, I appreciate Douglas's accomplishments, but, he's a manager of one of the largest garment industrial complexes, which employs hundreds of factory workers. There's somebody else to take his place. If he dies, there's somebody else in that company to take his place. I'm not too worried about that. If he was a billionaire, I think I would be way more like, fuck this guy, off with his head. A millionaire, I'm not so mad about, but it's also not significant enough for me to choose him to be in one of the spots on the life raft. So far, out of all these people, out of the first 4 people, the ship officer O'Malley, the one with the specific knowledge in the life raft itself and emergency practice drills and has navigational skills and is likable, I mean, that is an obvious choice for me so far. These other 3 people, I could leave them. Heretical response says the captain is always supposed to be the last one off the boat. I don't think Ship Officer O'Malley is the captain. But you're right, though. The captain always sinks with the ship. Cassie says you got to choose a crew member for the lifeboat for sure, who can navigate in a storm. And that's the thing, too. Not only is the ship sinking because it, hit an old-ass mine and it's, it exploded and now it's sinking. But there's a crazy storm coming. So even if you get off into the life raft, how are you going to navigate that shit? Honestly, Ship Officer O'Malley, she's one of my top picks. I need to get a Word document going. Word document. I'm indirectly making you guys help me with my homework. Well, because I have to brainstorm. So you can't exactly do my homework for me because I have to write the paper, but I still have to read this and think about it and process it and wonder. And let me know what you would pick too. I want to know. I kind of want to do a poll a little bit, but we got to meet everybody first. Okay. Google Doc. I think this is fun, honestly. It's a thought experiment. It's a total thought experiment. And think about it in terms of being a Neogenian, too. Being a Neogenian and knowing that, when we die, we don't necessarily like cease to exist. We just like connect to a new body. But does that justify ending somebody's life? Like, this is really difficult. That's why I said at the beginning, like, who am I to play God? Like, who am I to decide who stays and who goes? What a horrible, like, position to be in, honestly. I'd be like, I don't know. 2 hash pipes later, I'll let you know. So I think my first person... Oh, sorry. So we got the ship off. I'm sorry, the thing. I didn't realize that. I think because I have like a hotkey programmed. So when I hit the hotkey, I don't know what to decide. Body screen. It's like my virtual pocket sand. It's like pocket sand. Just the B screen. Okay, so definitely out of the 4 people that we've seen so far, definitely Ship Officer O'Malley, because you have to have somebody to navigate through a storm and who is a specialist in the actual lifeboat. Okay, number 5, college student Charlie. She is a college student who has been on a limited budget European vacation. She is, what are you, middle class? She is a grand mal epileptic. What the fuck does that even mean? I know what an epileptic is, but what is grand? Let's see. How serious is a grand mal seizure? What is a grand mal seizure? What is this? A tonic-clonic seizure, previously known as a grand mal seizure, causes loss of consciousness and a violent muscle contractions. The type of... Oh, she's got to go. Sorry. I laugh when things are really horrible because it's just like... I mean, it's just the thought experiment, but it's like... Man, she's gonna... Okay, let's read the rest. Okay, let's at least give her that. Okay, so college student Charlie. She's a college student who has been on a limited budget European vacation. Middle class, hello. Upper middle class, hello. She is a grand mal epileptic. Okay, so she has like crazy convulsions. And I'm not making fun of that. That's a very serious condition. Unfortunately, while abandoning the ship, all medication was left behind. She doesn't have a chance. I'm sorry. If, like, she doesn't have a chance. She really does not have a chance. I love her. And this is what's so hard about this thought experiment. Obviously, I don't want anybody to die at all. I want everybody to be saved. But I have to choose 5 fucking people. I'm sorry, you're not it, honey. And I feel ableist. I don't know why. I feel ableist. It's like, oh, she has seizures. She has seizures. She sells seashells by the seashore. She has seizures. Off with her head. Poor girl. That's not fair. This is fucked up. This is not fair. But I think that's kind of the point of these thought experiments is like they're meant to put you into a very hard position where you question your morality and values. That's the whole point of this. Okay. All right. Number 6, Nobel Prize winner in literature, Dr. Lightfoot. He is a 62-year-old and is in good health for an individual his age. What does that mean? There's plenty of people who are in really good health at 62. Anyways, he is divorced and has 2 daughters who have families of their own. They're fine. They're fine. He's lived enough. He's got 2 daughters. I'm sure he's got a will. Whatever assets he has is going to go to those 2 daughters and the grandchildren. He's fine. Out. I'm not even going to consider him. Okay, we got another Nobel Prize winner. Only this one is in physics. Mark's like, HIPAA says no one else on the ship is entitled to her medical information. This is such a weird scenario. And like, I'm choosing among 16 people, which five out of those 16 people like gets to go on board. And immediately I'm like, you there, what do you do? What is your job? What are your aspirations? What is your medical history? It's like, what a weird fucking conversation. What a weird fucking conversation. Tell me your medical history and I'll determine if you're fit for one of the 5 seats. Anyways, number 7, another Nobel Prize winner in physics. The other one was in literature. So Dr. Singleton. It has been said that Dr. Singleton is about to release information to the world that will essentially bring about the solution to the world's ecology problem. Importante. Singleton is 37 years old. Okay, so a year older than me right now. Go Singleton. And is in excellent health and he's single. This is where I'm thinking Neogenian. Because as much as I want to say everybody like it's not even a Neogenian perspective to say that everyone deserves to live. Like it's a human like opinion to say that like everyone should live. But knowing that even if people die, they never really die. They're still eternal. They're going to just simply relocate and connect to like a new body and just be born again, and not in some like it's reincarnation, but not like without the it's reincarnation but without the karma shit. So it's just like you literally like, I can no longer connect to this body. I die. I need to connect to a new one. I'm born again. But that doesn't mean like you should just reset the game and start over. Like, you need to live your life. Okay. But like a lot of these people, I'm just like, you could go if I have to choose, which I don't want to because this is fucked up. But when it comes to Dr. Singleton has information to release to the world that will essentially bring about the solution to the world's ecology problem. You can die, and your experiences, your whole experiences as that person that you lived at that time, that iteration of your life, I mean, that's all gonna, like, what's the word? Expire. But, like, you still have knowledge. You still carry knowledge with you. Knowledge is, like, extremely important, and also knowledge in the name of helping humanity and the collective grow. So I'm gonna say that I want like number 7. I think I want like, I'm gonna put one of my 5 choices is Dr. Singleton. Okay, let's see. That was 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay. So 8 and 9. Okay, so this is a couple. So that was person number 7. Person number 9 or 8 and person number 9, it's a couple. So football player and cheerleader, Mr. and Mrs. Small, both are in their late 20s. Okay, so they're young kids. Mr. Small was a star football at Penn State University. That's a very big university. And Mrs. Small also attended Penn State, and she was the homecoming queen. Mr. Small is now a running back for the Las Vegas Raiders. Mrs. Small is currently 8.5 months pregnant. I don't care. This is so awful. I would never say that in any other like situation or circumstance, but like under the whole like concept and context of this thought experiment, I don't care. I don't care. Let's see. Army Captain number 10, Army Captain Thomas. He was recently decorated for his bravery and valor above and beyond the call of duty. He is on his way to the U.S. to personally receive the Medal of Honor from the President. Don't care. He is married, has 2 children, and is in his mid-30s. While engaging in the action which resulted in receiving the Medal of Honor, he lost his right leg. Okay, well, part of him's already gone. Let the rest of him go. This is awful. These are awful things I'm saying. Okay, so number 12. Sorry. He already lost his leg. Just as well have the rest go. Okay, so number 12. Peace Corps volunteer. Miss Davison. She recently completed 2 years of work in India. She has a master's degree in chemical engineering and is on her way back to Boston, where she is to be married in 2 months to her fiance Patricia. Okay. All right. Lesbian couple. We like that. Okay, we'll put them on the back burner because if I have one last choice and I don't know who to choose, I'm choosing the lesbian couple. Let's see. Elderly. Okay, another couple. So 14 and 15. Elderly man and woman, Mr. and Mrs. Eldridge. An elderly couple, both in their late 60s and on their way back to their native New Jersey. After traveling around Spain. Okay, so they've been traveling around Spain. They're trying to get back to New Jersey. Mr. Eldridge is suffering severely from arthritis and is not capable of walking without the aid of a cane. The couple will celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary next week. They have 8 children and 29 grandchildren. They're good. Honeys, they're good. Susan is like late 60s is not elderly. Okay, so it's not about them being 60 that I'm saying they're good. It's about the fact that they have 29 grandkids. You're good. Okay, let's just read the last one because like I feel like this is hard because like I really just like don't give a shit as much about the other people. Okay, so the traveling poet, Mrs. Carpenter, a 30-year-old traveling poet in excellent health. She has never had a permanent home since she ran away from New York orphanage at 15 years ago. She spent 4 years in the Navy where she acquired a taste for sailing. She has been divorced 3 times and is currently separated from her 4th husband who resides in France. Oh, she's a childless cat lady. We got to get rid of her. She suffers from asthma. Yeah, so do I. Did manage to bring her inhaler while abandoning the ship. Okay, well, how? It doesn't say severe asthma. All right, so the 2 people to me, okay, let's see, go. Oh, wait. Singleton, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the first 2, Ship Officer O'Malley, which is the expert in the actual life raft. She's good. Dr. Singleton stands out to me because he has extremely important information about the economy. I mean, at least if I gotta do some process of elimination. So we got 2 Nobel Prize winners. And if I had to choose, it would be Dr. Singleton. So number 6 is completely out no matter what. Oops. So 6. Number 6 is... let's see. Underline, isn't there strike through? How do I do a strike through? Anyways. So number 6 is out. I'm not doing number 6. We're never looking at that again. Okay, so 1. Able-bodied Sailor Jones. I mean, how many sailors do you really need on a life raft? Because it's such a small ship. Do you really need any more than 1? I'm going to say 1. He's out. He's out permanently. There's a self-made millionaire. Okay. Let's see. Homecoming king and queen football cheerleader. Boom. The wife is pregnant, but that counts as 2. It says 8/9, football and cheerleader. So I'm assuming the football player is 8 and 9 is the cheerleader. I would put, let's see, tab over here. Let's see, tab, toss, keep. Oops. Keep. I would potentially keep number 9 just because she's pregnant. But number 10, probably not, but we'll put him on the back burner for now because I want to see the rest. Okay, so the army captain. He was recently decorated for his bravery and valor above and beyond the call of duty. Okay, so he's extra. He's extra. He's an extra guy. He is on his way to the U.S. to personally receive the Medal of Honor from the President. He is married, has 2 children, and in his mid-30s. While engaging in action which resulted in receiving the Medal of Honor, he lost his right leg. Right. Okay. Other than his rather serious condition, he's in... I'd put that in the potential keep. Did I just really have like the P screen on? Like how long? How long was the P screen on? I'm so tired. For like 3 minutes. Did you at least hear some of what I said? Bro, what hotkey are you using? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think I need to take a look at my hotkeys. 2.3 minutes, I guess. That's not bad. You guys get what I'm saying. Like, number 9. Let's see. Number 9 is the pregnant lady. Not number 8, the football player. It's like, okay, I'll keep the pregnant lady. 10, the Army Captain Guy Thomas, who is highly decorated for his exemplary, selflessness and saving other people to the point where he lost his leg. I put that in like the keep pile. 11, I'm like, hey, I think I inadvertently like skipped over this. It's like draft evader Samuels. He left the United States 2 years ago to avoid military draft. So I was just saying, like, I remember in the trolley problem, it was like push the fat guy down the hill so that he stops the train from hitting children, or just stand there and let the train hit the children. And when I chose to not push my fat friend down the hill, I'm not saying that because I'm mean. It literally was like your overweight friend. So when I chose not to push him, because why the fuck would anybody do that? The game was like, well, he died the next day from a heart attack because he was so upset. So like when I read about people like draft evader Samuels, I think about the results, because my professor said, you can choose the 5 people you want to choose, but there's going to be a result. You're going to find out results from this. So I think there's going to be something like a caveat to the choice. So when I think about the draft evader, I'm thinking even though he's like shitty, there's going to be like a catch where like if he survives, he's going to do something great. I'm going to put him... For fuck's sakes. I think it's a fucking hotkey thing. Like number 1 or... Okay, let me press 1. Okay, so it's when I press the number 1. That's when the screen changes. What was I saying? Anyways. So let's see. Toss is the pile where, like, we're never going to look at these numbers again. Like, we don't give a shit. We still have 3 spaces. That could be potentially it. Okay, so... Number 12. Okay, wait. Ship Officer O'Malley was number 2. Oh, shit. This is gonna suck. Okay. Dr. Singleton was number 7. Six, 1, and 3 we're never looking at again. 8, 9. 8 is on the back burner. We'll come back to that. 10 is on the good list. 11 is on the good list because I'm just like, I got a feeling about that one. 12, the Peace Corps volunteer, Miss Davison. She recently completed 2 years of work in India. She has a master's degree in chemical engineering and is on her way back to Boston, where she is to be married with 2 months Uh, I guess I'll put it in keep for now. Okay, hold on. Okay, the elderly man and woman. I don't know about that. Okay, let's look at the traveling poet. Nah, I really don't care for the traveling poet. I'm gonna put her over here. So I think it's just 8, 14, and 15. Eight is the football guy of this pregnant lady. You know, she might be a little devastated that her husband didn't make it, but she should be all right. Let's put 8 over here. So now we're just down to this elderly couple. You know, they go as a pair. They've already had like 29 grandchildren, so frankly. Sorry, I know that's annoying. So, anyways. Alright, so I have 3s left, and I either want 9, 10, 11, or 12. So, 9, let's look at 9. So, the 9 is the pregnant lady. Isn't there another pregnant lady? 9, 10, 11, and 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, it's all like in a group. Okay, so the army captain, the draft evader, the Peace Corps volunteer. Gotta save the pregnant lady, honestly. The cheerleader. Pregnant cheerleader. Oh my fuck. I didn't even think about 13. That's another one I fucking missed. Okay, 13, med student Ryan. They have recently come out as gender fluid. Okay, go queen. They prefer they them pronouns. Okay, me too. Whatever. They have been vacationing in France and is 20. Dude, a medical doctor. You need a medical doctor. You need that. Because if somebody gets hurt, or if the pregnant cheerleader starts having like medical complications, like on the life raft, you're gonna need Ryan. You're gonna need Ryan, the non-banana person. And still, I'm not saying they're non-binary. I'm just thinking like non-binary, non-banana. I always make that joke. Non-banana. I'm a non-banana. I'm a they-thems. Pregnant cheerleader. Okay. It's 9, 13, 10, 11, 12. Out of 10, 11, and 12. Okay, we got the draft evader. 1 spot left. He's got to go. Okay, so it's between the army captain and the Peace Corps volunteer. The lesbian Peace Corps volunteer. Or the army captain Thomas. So the white cis guy, or he could be black, I don't fucking know. So the cis guy, or the lesbian Peace Corps volunteer. Hi, Morg. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Give that a little heart. Appreciate that so much. We're down to our last spot. The ship is sinking. There's 16 people. We can only choose 5 to be on the life raft, and they all have a little bit of backstory. And the last choice is between Army Captain Thomas, recently decorated for his bravery and valor above the beyond the call of duty. He's on his way to the U.S. He's going to receive a medal from the president. But then there's Miss Davison, who's due to marry Patricia. She recently completed 2 years of work in India. She's got a master's degree in chemical engineering. Picking between the army guy with high valor and is willing to sacrifice himself, and this lady with a chemical engineering degree. I'm going to choose the army captain because if something goes wrong on this life raft, if something goes wrong and you just need that extra variable of somebody who's going to go like risk their lives to save somebody, but he has one leg. One leg ain't gonna stop him. Let's do it. Let's lock it in. Let's lock it in. Let's do it. Army captain. Med student. Ryan, pregnant cheerleader. What was her name? Oh yeah, Mrs. Small. Dr. Singleton. Dr. Singleton, who has major information that's going to change the economy. And Ship Officer O'Malley, who is a specialist in navigation and the actual life-saving raft in itself. Okay, I think this is it. I think this is going to be my choice. I'm going to choose Ship Officer O'Malley, expert in navigations, naval sailor navigations, and specifically in emergency policy. Let's see, Dr. Singleton. He's an economist. He has very important information that's going to change the world. We got to save him. The one pregnant lady is the pregnant cheerleader, Mrs. Small. I'm going to save her just for the sheer fact that she's pregnant. Okay, that child, deserves a chance. Let's see. The med student, Ryan, who's the only fucking medical trained person. You're going to need that. And then Army Captain Thomas, because he's so brave, he sacrificed himself in such a way that he lost his leg. He went above and beyond duty to save somebody. Or did he? I don't know. Because like I said, my professor said that we can choose who we want, but we're going to find out the results of this choice. So we're going to find out what actually happens to these people at the end of things. And so next Friday, I'm going to share with you the results of these choices. Let's see. Bridget said the pregnant woman could go into labor and move around in pain, sinking the lifeboat. I don't think yeah, but there's no information about the lifeboat to say that would actually happen. We don't know what kind of lifeboat it is or what it's made out of. Oh, Elise is like, what if he changes the economy for the worst? Bro, I'm going to be so fucking pissed. I'm going to be pissed no matter what the results are. Bridget said she's 8.5 months pregnant. Who would deliver the baby? Well, I put med student Ryan on the boat. Med student Ryan isn't a perfect like midwife, but they've got education and what to do medically. I don't know. What do y'all think? Do you think this is a good choice? Is there something that you would like switch out? It's really hard to say because there's like 16 whole ass people. He changes ecology. Oh. The economy. Yeah, not ecology. The economy. Sorry. Am I going for a bachelor's in sociology? For now, ideally, I would like a master's, but, I got to take it one step at a time. Right now, I'm just working on my associates. So this semester, which is fall semester, spring semester, then another year of fall and spring semester. So 2 years of school, I should have my associates. And then after that, I'm going to transfer to a state university and work for my bachelor's. And then after I get my bachelor's, that's when I'm going to decide either I take a break from school or I go directly into a master's degree. What do I want to do with my degree? Contribute academically to the world. Be a smarter person, more informed and more articulate, and be able to have a job such as something in like youth counseling or something if I wanted, or contribute to an organization that helps people. But it's so good to hang out with you guys. Like, it's so nice to hang out with you all. I gotta say, like, I took a math quiz earlier today. And even though I was, like, super comfortable and, like, I understood the material and I was confident in my answers, there's something about, like, math that just elicits a panic response. And I think it has to do with, like, PTSD, statistical math. I think it has to do with, like, PTSD as a child, because math was kind of like a contentious point in my educational development, because I had a father figure who was a chemist and that was really good at math. And I had an older brother who was a biochemist, also really good at math. But the way they explained math was, and tried to teach me math, was like in a really not a very supportive way. In fact, it was abusive in a lot of cases. And because I did so poorly at math, I didn't do well at high school. I actually dropped out of high school and then later I got my GED. So my relationship with math has been extremely negative. And it's only since I've been Neogenian, like the last 8 years of getting into Neogenian and understanding math as like a language of the universe, like how that's when I found a new appreciation for it. So it's like I have an excitement and I do genuinely like understand the material because I'm very interested in it. But because it's timed, like I have due dates, I have homework, I have timed quizzes. I feel so much pressure when it's timed because it's like a quiz of like 5 questions and you get 30 minutes to answer these 5 questions. And the 5 questions are very simple. And I'm like, I can do this. And in like half the time or a quarter of the 30 minutes that I'm allotted. But like, there's still this response in my body where it just immediately goes into panic. And I start to shake and I just get really queasy in my guts and my guts get sick and then I have to take like a nasty shit afterwards. But like it's just like, I don't know. I kind of know. I think it's PTSD in some ways, but like, I wish there was something I could say to myself. I wish there was something I could accomplish in my inner dialogue to alleviate that panic response when I take a math quiz. I wish there was something I could do. So that's something I'm working on right now. So what I mean is like, it's nice to like actually go live and hang out with you all and relax because like it was so stressful when I had a panic attack earlier. Now I'm very confident that I got the quiz answers right, but like I was like, I'm trying to compare that moment where I'm having a panic attack over math to like something like the nervousness of going live and going public on camera. And it's just like taking a math quiz is so much more stressful and panic inducing than like getting on here and going live and talking to people. And I think I just found a new whole appreciation for getting on live stream and just like on camera and just like hanging out with you guys and just like talking about this kind of stuff. So Anyways, this is actually for a sociology assignment, Sociology 101. It's the abandoned ship project. I just have to type up like a double spaced 3-page paper on my choices here out of these 16 people. And I have to just talk about like why I chose that. And then I just have to talk about what values I have instilled in me that led me to make these choices. Like, for example, I chose number 7, Dr. Singleton, because he apparently has like information that's so important it's going to bring a solution to the world's ecology problem. So based on that alone, I'm like, I as a Neogenian really value education. I think education is like an extreme value, like learning, evolving, growing. It's like, it's the very nature of being Neogenian is learning, evolving, and growing and becoming better. So like that's something, that's an example of like a value that I have that influences why I would choose something like somebody like Dr. Singleton. And I just kind of have to like break down my reasonings for each person. And then I have to choose a couple of people that I didn't choose, that I tossed, and just give like some reasons as to like why I didn't choose them, which is pretty self-explanatory. So like, in a way, thank you so much, y'all. You literally just like helped me work on my homework. Like you helped me work on my project. I needed to sit down and spend time and like think about like who I'd choose and who I wouldn't. Now, obviously you didn't do my homework for me because I have to write the whole 3-page paper, but you all really helped me just like sit here and talk this out. So, you know, thank you so much for contributing to my education, because you just totally did. Like this is a really fun project. And school is just so much of a priority right now. It's literally all I can think about. It's an obsession. It literally an obsession. Like I'm obsessed about school right now, and that's all I can talk about. And I was kind of hoping that there were some school assignments that I could bring into like live streaming and talking about with you guys. So thank you so much for helping me with my schoolwork. I really appreciate that. And on that note, let's see, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm kind of exhausted. Tomorrow, when I wake up after a good night's sleep, I have to start typing up this paper. I have to start writing about these choices that I made just now. And it's not due till Sunday night at midnight. Actually, just before midnight. So, like, it's due by the end of Sunday. So I have 2 full days to work on it. And for a double space 3-page paper, should be a piece of cake. I think I'll finish it all tomorrow. Like it'll probably take me like 3 to 6 hours, just because I'm a slow worker and, you know, it takes me some time. So probably about 3 to 6 hours of work tomorrow on this paper, and I should have it done and turn it in. But there's going to be results. We're going to find out what happens when these people are saved. So next week, when I get those results, I'm going to share them with you, and we're going to figure out if we made a bad decision or a good decision. So anyways, I love all of you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And just so you know, school being a priority, it's really hard to keep up with streaming. And I know recently I've been doing live streams on both Wednesday and Friday. I just can't do that at the moment. And as far as streaming video games, that's going to be put on the back burner. I mean, I'm sure you understand. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I'm just saying that whenever I game stream, it's going to be really spontaneous. So keep a lookout for that. Otherwise, we're going to move our schedule to just purely Fridays. And it's going to be a little bit later, around 6:30 p.m., between 6 and 7 p.m. Pacific time. So California time, like between 6 and 7 is when we're going to start. In Eastern time in the U.S., that's between 9 and 10. So it's a late night Friday night stream. And I probably don't have as much time to prepare topics, but we're just going to scroll through the news, come up with something random, and then talk about what I'm learning in class and do some thought experiments and talk about statistical mathematics and sociology and Western world history and English essays and all that fun stuff. So anyways, thank you all so much for helping me with my homework tonight. I wish you a beautiful weekend. Have fun, relax, and we'll see you later. Okay? Okay. Thank you so much to our beautiful moderators, Mark, Cassie, and Elise, and Susan, who came in to say hello. Really appreciate you coming in and keeping the live stream chill. And thank you everybody else who participated. Buddy Friendo, Bridget Bell, Jackie, Spectral Cord. Let's see, Alberto. Let's see, Skylar. Good to see you, Skylar. Hang in there. Please hang in there. I'm rooting for you. Stoic Jeff, good to see you. And everybody else I didn't mention. I'm just trying to go down the list and, be kind and message everybody. Thank you, everybody, for super chats and all that. Okay, kids, take care. I'm going to take all this information and this data that we figured out, and I'm going to write up my 3-page paper. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye.